about the MSc in Consumer Psychology. And we're very proud of all the programs we have here at NUI Galway. All of our programs serve different interests, but we all work together as well. So Jenny and I work a lot together, for example. And we all benefit from the variety of different perspectives, and neuroscience and applied behavior analysis that we can all bring to different problems. So, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about consumer psychology today. And so consumer psychology is the study of how we relate to the transaction of goods and services we use every day. And this is whether we are retail consumers, buyers, or service users. We're often looking at the question, why do we buy? But the consumer in consumer psychology is actually much broader than that. So we can really look at any transaction in which you're doing something or giving something with the expectation of something in return. And we want to get into that transaction and learn how it is that that's operating. How is it that you choose to, for example, today, how did you choose to give your time and your attention to what we're going to talk about today? And that's a consumption activity that we want to understand, because we want more people to learn and understand about psychology and what we do here at NUI Galway. So when we think about consumers and consumer psychology, it's much broader than just thinking about people in Aldi buying products off of shelves, though of course we're interested in that too. So we access we're all about developing and informing consumer and customer insights. And so in order to generate customer insights, we focus on data and theory. And so data is what are our customers or our consumers doing right now? And our question then is, the theory then is, why are our customers doing this, and what would take for them to do something different? And we're at a very different point in time in consumer psychology, in that for much of the history of consumption, data was hard to get to. It was hard. You only really knew what was going on in your store, and nobody would tell you what was going on anywhere else. And you didn't even know very well what was happening in your store. If you think these days when we buy something, you use the barcode. So straight away, the stock is updated, saying that a product of that type has been sold. You know which products are sold together. Okay, so that kind of information, if you had a local shop, imagine 20 years ago, this kind of information wasn't available to you. So today, the problem is very different if we think of the history of consumer psychology, because we have much more data than we've ever had before. However, theory has not kept up with that. So we often have companies who are, quote unquote, drowning in data. That is, that they have too much data and they don't understand it. And the problem with data is, if you've got an opinion, you can often find data such as substantiated. And you need to be, that's why it's really important to educate ourselves in terms of the theory of why people do what they do. So just to give you an idea of what the program outline is here in the MSc in consumer psychology. So our focus is twofold. We are looking to educate you about how consumers make decisions and prepare you and ground you in that literature. We are also interested in developing you to be an extremely productive and competent employee should you move into industry, because our goal is kind of stunning performance once you hit the ground running, that you don't have weaknesses, that you know how to express your strengths, and you know how to make important differences for your company. So to do that, we build on your skills in data analysis and design thinking. We also bring in industry leaders who give you tools and insights to try and decipher industry. Because if you're coming to industry as a graduate, it's hard to understand what you're required to do. We're trying to give you the tips and insights that allow you to get in and distinguish yourself as knowing what matters in your job. The kind of insights that usually take years to develop through experience. And then we also focus on information system strategy and innovation. This is provided by the Business Information Systems team here at NUI Galway in the business school. And we look at strategic brand management, which is brought to us by the marketing school. So you are going to be working on data, generating insights from data, and connecting and looking at different bodies of work in consumer psychology. We have a particular interest in cross-cultural psychology and sustainable consumption as well. So what are the features? Well, we're going to train you in high demand skills in data analysis, data generation, and transversal skills. We have work-based projects that connect you to local and national organizations and give you the first, a first look at companies, give them a first look at you. We have employers in our steering group. We analyze your core work skills, find the holes and fill them. We work on CV and interview preparation, and we prepare you for the world of tomorrow. We are always looking at we're trying to predict the industry environment in 10 years time, because we want you to be ahead of the curve. And so we focus on cross-cultural issues because everything is local and global simultaneously, and climate change is the pressing issue of our time. If we are not developing business strategies that are informed by climate change, then we're dead in the water. So career prospects, a variety of different options in what we call the big data landscape. And so we're working with, for example, Genesis here in Galway at the moment with one of our work-based projects. We also have teams working with the incubator here in the Tech Transfer Office. And so we have a number of teams interested in working with us at the moment. As I said, we have a focus on sustainability. We train our students to think in the long term, economic sustainability, environmental sustainability, and community sustainability. So you need to be thinking in all these ways at the same time in order for what you're developing to be something that can be maintained and generate long-term advantage. We also consider ourselves to be global citizens. From here in NUI Galway, we are on the Atlantic coast at the edge of Europe, but we are going to impact on every citizen across the world, and that's our goal. So we train our students to think locally and globally. So everywhere, every context that you need to affect, every cultural context you need to understand, they are all little local bubbles. And so you need to understand that local bubble, but also know how to impact it and how identify the commonalities across these communities. So understand, how do your consumers think? So if you're interested, email me at dennisohora@nuigalway.ie. And if there's some questions in the chat, I can pop back some answers to you. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope you consider the MSc in Consumer Psychology.